Hey folks, your OS Reviews. You're watching our video first look and a quick review of the detachable wireless Bluetooth slider case for the Galaxy series. The version we have here is for the S3, so it's a little dated, but it also comes in variants for the Galaxy S4, S5, S6, and S7. So essentially it's a detachable hardshell case. If you detach it, this is what it looks like. It works like just any other regular soft touch case, which is relatively slim and gives you access to the ports, but then you can also attach it on the back using this mechanical system onto this, where we have a wireless Bluetooth keyboard for typing and text entry. It also stands up at an elevated angle for watching videos in the style of the HTC Tilt. Do you guys still remember that phone? It came out almost a decade ago. So on the back here we have some basic info about this particular case. It retails for under 25 bucks, so it's a little bit more expensive than other generic cases because it uses Bluetooth on board, but you can see that it offers also a backlight on the keyboard part, a 280 milliamp hour capacity battery, which will last for about a month or so of usage on and off before you need to recharge it, Bluetooth version 3.0, and inside the packaging there's also a micro USB cable that you use to charge the keyboard part itself. So I've already taken this out of the packaging, of course, for testing purposes, but you can see this is what it looks like with the case part detached completely, and we'll explore the design in a second. Other contents include a user manual that's documented in full color, tells you how to set it up through the Bluetooth settings on your phone, and there's also a, of course, micro USB cable, and they were kind enough to also include a full-size wall charger, so that's a nice little extra. So taking a look at the case here, it is made entirely out of plastic. There's some polycarbonate accents, but what looks like metal or aluminum is, again, just chrome accented plastic, so it does feel a little bit on the cheap side, but again, the price here is quite low. The keyboard itself is fairly spacious and easy to type on. Obviously it's going to be better than using an on-screen virtual keyboard if you do a ton of text entry for longer emails, for office, and productivity on the go. It's no BlackBerry keyboard, but it's still relatively tactile and responsive, although it isn't super raised above the surface of the unit just because the sliding mechanism needs to be shut when not in use. What I do like is the keyboard is spring assisted, so it closes up and opens with a satisfying thump each time that you use it, and this part is actually made out of metal, so it feels quite sturdy on the moving parts. One con of this design, at least on the S3 version that we have, is the camera sensors are covered up when you are using it when the unit is attached to the keyboard, and as a result you can't take images anymore. Even if you slide it out, it still obstructs from the camera sensor a little bit, and also part of the speaker is covered up. So there are a few limitations to its design. It doesn't swivel out to prevent this from happening, but again, it is a workaround that you have to keep in mind. If we take a closer look at the design now, you can see that there are a few instructions on board, and the keyboard itself, if we tap on the power key on the side, turns on the backlight. It's a relatively faint backlight, but if the lights are completely off, it does make it a lot more readable, and you can see that each of the individual keys are lit up, which again is very useful in darker environments, perhaps on a plane or somewhere that you don't want to disturb others around you. Special function keys are located on the sides and also doubles in the QWERTY layout. There's a dedicated lock key on the side, and there's also arrow keys and function keys located on the right-hand edge. So turning this off, we can also have access to a micro USB port for charging, dedicated power switch, LED status light, and that's basically it. The back is again just a matte surface with a speaker grill or ventilation grill, but it doesn't have any soft touch or rubber accents. So if you are looking for a rugged case, this probably won't work since it's going to glide very easily on a flat surface. So let's take a look at the second part, which is the case component. It's a soft touch rubber that is a lot better in the day-to-day use because it is more of a rugged hardshell case. And again, all the ports are precisely cut out, and we had no issues as far as accessing all the controls and the buttons when using this just as a normal case. However, with the keyboard part attached, one con that you'll notice almost immediately is how much bulk it adds to the phone. It becomes almost 2 times the thickness of the original Galaxy S3, and it's not that different on other variants of this case. So if we put it next to other modern phones, you really tell that this is becomes almost like a brick in your pocket, which is, not ideal. However, it still fits into a backpack, and again, you can't detach it if you're not using it, and since it's using wireless Bluetooth, you could always just type it and not have it be attached at all. Although, for traveling, I still would recommend keeping it in one place to prevent it from getting lost. Again, the keyboard part can pop up at an angle for elevated media and entertainment, and using this kind of like a pseudo netbook or laptop, and it reminds us again of the Nokia N900 and also the HTC Shift series. We're now paired, and the first time that you set it up, you just go into Bluetooth settings. It's going to tell you to enter a passcode. It gives you a series of numbers that you tap on with the keyboard and then press enter on the keyboard to pair successfully with the phone. Afterwards, it just remembers your device automatically. So you can see here it supports the weight of the phone without any problems, even though the phone part is technically thicker than a keyboard, so it doesn't topple over too easily since it seems to be relatively well constructed here. And you can see that this is what it looks like at various angles. And if we do a quick typing test next, this is a test. And then we can see that indeed it pops up accordingly on screen. And there's not that much latency between what happens on the keyboard and what appears on the device, although that's kind of to be expected since even though the connection range is rated at 10 meters or 33 feet, for most of the time you will be connected to the phone in a pretty close fashion. So it's not going to be that far away, and so what happens on screen and what you're typing are fairly in sync even though it's wireless. So no real complaints in that department. So anyways, as far as the keyboard typing experience goes, I would say that it does a good job. It's definitely larger than what you have on screen, at least in this S3 version, and that tactile feedback and the tactile response is really another way of having a kinesthetic confirmation beyond what you get from maybe just an on-screen tapping motion. So, it's pretty well thought out, has a ton of features going for it. I think I like the concept more than anything else, and the fact that the keyboard is spring assisted makes it quite easy and nice to use. The kickstand is quite helpful if you're watching videos or enjoying additional media content on YouTube or browsing the web for longer periods of time. So I think that overall this is actually a pretty good idea. I would say that the only cons would be a slightly flimsy construction. Other than the kickstand part, everything else is made out of plastic. I wish they used a bit of metal just to make it feel a bit more elegant. And of course, the biggest con for many folks is going to be that form factor. It is really a lot thicker than your average phone after popping it into this case, which won't be super convenient for everyone out there. But otherwise, they tried to have workarounds, and they had the pretty clever system of being able to detach it as a separate case if you don't need the bulk of the keyboard. So it's a 2-in-1 system. You can learn more details about this in our official written review coming out soon, but for now this has been our video. So thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This has been our closer look at the Bluetooth keyboard case series for the Samsung Galaxy devices.